Welcome back, Fan-Fueled family. Today we're continuing our Examining Character series with the fearsome assassin Vincent Valentine. First though, just a quick note on the channel. I'd love to do this for a living, making videos for all of you, but as it stands, only around 23% of viewers are subscribed. If you haven't yet, please hit that big red button down below the video, then hit the bell and choose all so you get notified whenever a video goes up. With that out of the way, on to Vincent. Vincent is immediately recognizable. He's one of the tallest party members, standing at 6 feet, only overshadowed by Barrett's massive 6'6". He's slender, with long black hair, dark leather armor with gold plates along his leg and a golden gauntlet on his left arm. His eyes glow with sinister red, and he sports a red cloak with a long cape. Vincent's design oozes 90s edge. He's exactly the type of dark, brooding, borderline gothic character that was popular in the late 90s and early 2000s. That said, there are also a lot of influences from 80s action movies and especially horror movies. As one of the secret characters in Final Fantasy VII, he's not exactly the easiest to find, and as a kid, I had trouble acquiring him at first. To find Vincent, the player must open the safe in the Nibelheim mansion, which requires finding the pieces of the safe's code throughout the mansion, then inputting them flawlessly under fairly tight time constraints. Opening the safe gives the player access to the basement key, but also unleashes a boss monster, Lost Number. Lost Number, being technically an optional boss, is considerably more dangerous than the bosses encountered thus far. It has powerful attacks, solid defense, and a sizable health pool. When it's taken enough damage, it will change forms, becoming highly resistant to whatever was used to drop its HP below the 3,498 mark. If the attack was a physical attack, Lost Number will take its purple form, where its magical attack and defense drop significantly, but its physical attack and defense will gain a massive boost. If the attack that dropped its HP below the threshold was a magic attack, Lost Number will take its red form, with low physical attack and defense and extremely high magic stats. Personally, I believe the purple version is the more dangerous of the two, as it has an ability called Lost Blow, which will inflict around 2,400 damage to a single target, which, that early in the game, will be a significant amount of health. The Lost Number is vulnerable to paralysis, so Cloud's cross-slash limit or Aerith's Seal Evil can freeze it in place while the party attacks. After Lost Number is defeated, the party is free to pick up the basement key, then head downstairs where the key will open a secondary room with a handful of coffins inside. Upon opening the coffin on the central plinth, Vincent will rise from within and the player can discuss Sephiroth with him, after which Vincent will return to sleep in his coffin. Speak with Vincent again and ask his name, and when you leave the mansion, Vincent will stop you and ask if he can join the group. Okay, I'm going to put up a spoiler warning here. If you don't want the story spoiled, skip to the timestamp on screen now. Vincent's story gets a little crazy, so you may want to experience it for yourself. Vincent was formerly a member of the Turks, more properly known as the Investigation Sector of the General Affairs Department, or simply Administrative Research, but they're really Shinra's Black Ops division, carrying out spying and assassinations. About a quarter century before the events of Final Fantasy VII, Vincent was assigned to supervise the Genova project in Nibelheim, where he fell in love with a scientist named Lucretia, an assistant to Professor Gast, the Genova project's lead researcher and the biological father of Aerith. Lucretia distanced herself from Vincent when Vincent discovered that she had a connection to his father, and entered into a relationship with another scientist, Professor Hojo. When Lucretia discovered that she was pregnant, Hojo decided to use the unborn child to test theories about the Genova project.
Of course!
Hojo's gonna Hojo, I guess. Vincent objected to study on humans, especially on Lucretia, whom he still loved, and when he confronted Hojo in the Shinra Manor in Nibelheim, Hojo shot him in the chest. Hojo then used his nearly dead body as a test subject for his experiments on strengthening the body through metamorphosis, but Vincent, while still alive, remained comatose. In a last-ditch effort to save Vincent, Lucretia infused one of Shinra's experiments into Vincent, Mako tainted by chaos. The procedure worked. Vincent's body was durable enough to become a vessel for chaos due to Hojo's experiments on him. Chaos was an ancient and malevolent being that was a threat to the planet itself, and was only stopped when the planet produced proto-materia. Lucretia implanted the proto-materia into Vincent's chest, granting him some degree of control over chaos. With the fusion came incredible speed, strength, endurance, agility, regenerative abilities, and shapeshifting powers. Despite the horrors that Lucretia underwent at the hands of Hojo and the potential dangerous results of his experimentation on their unborn child, Lucretia still cared for her baby. When the child was born, she named her son Sephiroth.
It's a boy!
With Sephiroth's birth, Lucretia fell deathly ill. Her baby was taken from her without her even getting to ever hold him. That, combined with her belief that Vincent had died, sent her down a spiraling path of depression. She attempted to take her own life, but the Genova cells injected into her while she was pregnant didn't let her die. She fled, taking her thesis on chaos with her, where she would be found by Vincent and Cloud later in a crystal cave. She told Vincent that she had been dreaming of Sephiroth and asked if he was still alive. Vincent simply did not have the heart to tell her everything that Sephiroth had done, everything he was planning to do, and told her that Sephiroth was dead. Vincent blamed himself for Lucretia's illness, and as penance, he sealed himself in a coffin in the Shinra Manor's basement, which is where Cloud and his friends eventually found him. Vincent agreed to go with Cloud, as the party would almost certainly end up fighting Hojo, and Vincent was determined to have his revenge.
No matter what!
Come on, Vincent's very horror-inspired. I had to put in some Dorif. Vincent's weapons of choice are guns, all of which he wields one-handed, gunslinger style. Generally, these are pistols, shotguns, and rifles, and each one of his weapons is considered long-range, meaning he deals full damage even from the back row, and can hit enemies out of range of close-range fighters like Cloud and Tifa. He even rechambers his lever-action rifle, the Winchester, one-handed, just like Arnold does in Terminator 2. Continuing with the homages to pre-2000s action movies, his victory animation is very reminiscent of RoboCop's gun twirling. One notable weapon of Vincent's is the Sniper CR, which can be found in the caves of Mount Nebel or bought late game in Junon. It isn't the most exceptional weapon in terms of damage, but it has 255% accuracy, meaning it will almost never miss, making it perfect for the Death Blow materia, which deals double damage but only has around 30% accuracy. His ultimate weapon, however, is the Death Penalty. This rifle is one of only 2 weapons that can reliably trigger the damage overflow glitch mentioned back in Barrett's video, link in description. The Death Penalty, in allusion to its name, does more damage the more foes Vincent has felled, and at the maximum countable number, 65,535, Vincent deals so much damage that he simply overflows the damage counter. The death penalty, like most of Vincent's weapons, appears to be closely based on a real-world firearm, specifically the Colt Model 1855, but with a ribbon tied to the end of the barrel. Vincent's limit breaks behave a bit differently than those of other characters. Instead of 2 limit breaks for levels 1 through 3 and 1 ultimate limit at level 4, Vincent has 1 limit break per limit level, and each of them transforms Vincent into a different form, several of which reference iconic horror monsters. When Vincent transforms, the player loses control over him and he immediately attacks the enemy using one of 2 special attacks as soon as it's his turn every turn. Vincent does not transform back unless he's dropped to 0 HP or the battle ends. Because the player loses control over Vincent when he transforms, enemy elemental resistances must be taken into consideration, as many of the attacks have some element to them. This can mean that the attack is ignored by or even heals the enemy. Vincent's level 1 limit is Gallian Beast, which transforms him into a more anthropomorphic version of a behemoth, a recurring Final Fantasy monster. When transforming into the Gallian Beast, Vincent's defense is increased by 20%, dexterity by 50%, and max HP is raised to 130%. The Gallian Beast's first attack is Berserk Dance, which is a physical attack for 1.5 times normal damage and occurs 70% of the time. The Gallian Beast's second attack is Beast Flare, which is a fire element magic attack for 3 3/4 normal damage. It occurs 30% of the time. Vincent's second limit break is Death Gigas. The Death Gigas is a lumbering creature strongly resembling more modern interpretations of Frankenstein's monster from Mary Shelley's iconic horror novel, Frankenstein. When Vincent transforms into Death Gigas, his defense is increased by 50%, but his magic defense is lowered by 70%, and his dexterity is lowered by 20%. His max HP is doubled, though it cannot exceed the usual 9,999 maximum. The Death Gigas' first attack is Gigadunk, a physical attack that deals 2 5/8 normal damage to a single target. Gigadunk is used 70% of the time. Livewire is a lightning elemental magic attack that deals 4 3/8 normal damage to all enemies. Livewire is used 30% of the time. Vincent's level 3 limit is the Hellmasker. Hellmasker seems to be an amalgamation of a handful of horror movie slasher villains. The 2 that are really at the forefront are Jason Voorhees of the Friday the 13th franchise, the mask and the somewhat undead appearance, and Leatherface of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. The chainsaw is Leatherface's iconic weapon. There may also be some inspiration taken from Rick in the Splatterhouse game, directly referenced in one of the attacks, Splatter Combo. When Vincent transforms into Hellmasker, his defense and magic defense both increase by 50%. Hellmasker's first attack is Splatter Combo, which is a physical attack that deals half normal damage 5 times to random targets. Hellmasker uses this 70% of the time. Hellmasker's second attack is Nightmare, which inflicts sleep, poison, confusion, silence, frog, and small on a single target. This attack is chosen 30% of the time. Lastly, Vincent's final limit break is Chaos. Chaos is a powerful winged demon and has been an intrinsic part of the Final Fantasy franchise since the first game, when Chaos was the main antagonist of the original Final Fantasy. When Vincent transforms into Chaos, his defense and magic defense both double. When Vincent acquires this limit break and learns the Chaos transformation, he says, "I'm getting less human," referencing how he acquired his transformation powers in the first place, and that Chaos is another step away from his lost humanity, relegating him to a painful existence, his own personal purgatory.
Welcome to hell.
Chaos's first attack is Chaos Saber, a physical strike which deals 2.5 times normal damage to all enemies. It's used 70% of the time. Chaos's second attack, used 30% of the time, is Satan Slam. Satan Slam deals 5 and 5/8 damage to all enemies. It also inflicts instant death on all targets not immune to death effects, and as such can be a great way to end a fight that has dragged on longer than planned.
Game over.
Vincent has an outwardly aloof and cold personality. He's quiet, only talking when necessary and rarely with any real verbosity, preferring to keep his responses to single sentences. He has a dark, brooding nature due to his past traumas, which he calls his sins. Despite this, he is a caring person, he just has trouble showing it. Near the end of the game, Cloud is surprised when Vincent returns to the party to face Sephiroth, saying, "It's just that you're always so cold, I thought you didn't care what was happening." Vincent replies simply, "Cold? I guess that's just how I am, sorry." Vincent is, by his very nature, a loner, but he shows unwavering loyalty to his friends. The writer of the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie, Kazushige Nojima, said that had Vincent not been one of Cloud's allies, it's highly unlikely that he would have joined them to fight Bahamut Sin. Tifa referring to Vincent as a friend speaks to Vincent's true nature.
Who's he? They're our friends.
Despite all this, Vincent does care about the planet and its people, evidenced by his activities after the end of the game. He wandered the world, gathering information on the remnants of Sephiroth, a group dedicated to strengthening Sephiroth's spirit to facilitate his return. Vincent's musical theme is called The Nightmare Begins, and it's a very sad song that really exemplifies the pain Vincent has been through. The original version used a synthesized guitar, while the version in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is much more orchestral and operatic, with strings, piano, and even a choral bit. It is, in my personal opinion, a better version, though that doesn't take away from the original's incredible quality and unsettling tone. Vincent is an incredibly skilled fighter, not just due to his biological augmentations, but due to a life of combat. He's fast, strong, very precise, and can easily outmaneuver most enemies, which we see clearly in Advent Children when he helps the team fight Bahamut Sin. He almost seems to float when he jumps, his iconic red cloak fluttering behind him like a cape, and he's even able to dodge the strikes of the enormous beast while in midair. Despite his loner nature, he works incredibly well with the rest of the team, striking the monster while providing openings for his friends to attack as well. Vincent has gained wild popularity with fans due to the mix of his mysterious nature, quiet personality, and his Bishonen looks. He gained so much popularity that he even got his own spin-off game, Dirge of Cerberus, set 3 years after the main game and 1 year after Advent Children. Thanks for watching! What do you think of Vincent? Honestly, I found I had a lot more to say about Vincent than I was expecting. He's a much deeper character than a casual glance would suggest. Given Vincent's horror-inspired background, I threw in a handful of horror clips to emphasize my points. The first person to list all of them, in order, will get their comment pinned. If you enjoyed this video, please consider commenting, liking, and subscribing. It all helps a ton. Next time, we're covering the final playable party member, the high-flying, daydreaming, spacefaring Dragoon. See you in the next one.